Everybody, this is just a quick video showing you who's going at each position in these rookie mock drafts. If you think you know who's going to go at this position, leave a comment down below. Who do you think it's going to be? And see if any of my guests who've been on agree with you. And before we get into it, hey, hit that like, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. We're on a march towards, 500 subscribers. I'd love to be able to do it before we get into this season of football. That'd be awesome. So help me out and let's go. Let's see who's going at this draft. So we're up at 110 then. So who we going to be clipping in? You're going to be like, I got this guy at 110 next year.
So what I was really excited is I felt kind of like on an island at times with a lot of people that I talk about with QB or running back evaluation with, because I had Kendre Miller as a better prospect than Zach Evans. And I think, and I understand like a lot of people thought that way, but like some people that I really like I really can like to check myself and just see what they're thinking. They were like, yeah, no, Zach Evans, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I really think Kendre Miller's the RB4 here. I don't think, his lack, he doesn't have necessarily the pass catching ability. And he only had that one season where he really exploded. And even then he didn't handle a huge workload in that one season at TCU, but his efficiency as a running back efficiency is what it is, but it is semi, you can use it a little bit in your process here, but he has a good touch threshold. He scores touchdowns, and then he lands in New Orleans, who, I think like I was on a stream when this pick happened and people were gotten really excited about Kendre Miller. He's the RB3, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, yeah. But then we also remember Jamal Williams is there now too, who stole a lot of touchdowns. And then Alvin Kamara, who, a lot of people are now thinking that maybe this court case might get pushed back a whole nother year. So the NFL has to hold up. So I don't want to just say, hey, there's tons of opportunity there, but he got the draft capital, and I think he's the youngest running back that was drafted, if I'm not mistaken. And I really like the way he runs. And some people criticize him as a little bit upright type of guy. I mean, when I run is like, I think he can make people miss. He has the speed. I know he didn't test, but I think he has the speed to hit the big play, which really helps hit your fantasy ceilings when you can turn the 40-yard gain into a 70-yard gain and a touchdown. And I think that's what Kendre Miller is, and especially in New Orleans, who have been known to use Alvin Kamara they do not want to use him as an 80% opportunity share guy. Kendre Miller has a lot of promise in New Orleans.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you with Kendre Miller versus Zach Evans. My whole thing, I tried to keep it simple. I was like, right, they're both in the same team, and Zach Evans couldn't really, fully beat out Kendre Miller, so he left, went to Ole Miss, and then he couldn't beat out a true freshman. And when Zach Evans left, TCU then go to like a championship game without Zach Evans. So it's kind of like, what am I was kind of at the same as you. I was like, what am I missing here? Like, what? So people so high on this guy. I'm not saying that Zach Evans is like a bad prospect or anything like that, but I never got why he was taking over some of these other guys.
There was a lot of speculation too about his recruitment process. He was non-committal. He changed his mind a bunch. And I think now people are a little bit more open to that because of the transfer portal now and how that works. But I still think some of that and his non-committalness and then transferring again once he actually got to college, I think that kind of plays into it a little bit with the whispers around Zach Evans. I think Zach Evans is a very efficient running back. Now, the only thing I really liked the size. I think Kendre Miller's size. I haven't really talked about yet what I like in a running back too. What I like in a running back is their size. As someone who's taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 102 at 199 pounds. But I deal like this is usually in my process. I like someone who at least gets over 20 combined or 20 touches and averages over 20 touches per game in a season, is over 210 pounds and can catch the ball as well. Kendre Miller, now he didn't necessarily meet the touch threshold because of having Zach Evans there, and then just and it didn't quite hit that touch threshold I like to see. He did have the size and the speed though for me, so that's why he falls here to me, because just the way I approach the running back position.
Love it. So let's get Kendre Miller locked in at 110. So we got 3 picks left in the first round. So who's the third last pick for you, Matt?
Yeah, so now is where I'm willing to move off the wide receivers. I feel like them for the locked in top four wide receivers, and now I'm willing to take that shot on a running back. I think there's a couple of running backs that I still truly believe in. I know there's been a lot of talk that the landing spots or the draft capital has not been great for some of these running backs, but the guy for me that's my running back 3 at the moment is Devon Achane. I know he was selected in day 3, a 3rd round pick. But I mean, the landing spot is brilliant. And I'm not just saying it's purely down to landing spot, because I liked him pre-NFL draft. I think I had him my RB4, RB5 before the NFL draft. But just getting that landing spot with the Dolphins, you couldn't have picked a better landing spot for Devon Achane. And his skill set fits so perfectly into that Dolphins scheme. And he's going to be used in such a great way, using that elite speed. We know that he's a track star. His speed, we saw it at the combine just how fast he is. So I feel like landing with the Dolphins, we've seen it already with a guy like Raheem Mostert, somebody with that speed, and obviously this 49 and style offense that they've got under Mike McDaniels now at Miami. He's going to be the perfect fit for this, and I love the landing spot. I think he's got the ability to beat out these guys that are still there. Jeff Wilson, he's proven to be a solid running back. Obviously, McDaniels likes him from his time at the 49ers, and Raheem Mostert as well, but he's getting up there in age. He's struggled with injuries, and I feel like this is the like-for-like replacement for him. And yeah, I'm super excited about the landing spot, and I think he's going to be great on this offense.
Yeah, that's like obviously lots of people on the show before the draft, like talking about landing spots, and a couple of episodes, like I've talked to some guests, like one of these running backs is going to hit the jackpot and get that Miami landing spot. And if you could have handpicked, maybe apart from Bijan Robinson, obviously, but if you could have picked someone, Devon Achane would be right at the top of that list for just like their ultimate sort of Mike McDaniel kind of pass catching, does it all, like speed kind of guy. I can't wait to see what he does in this offense. And again, it might be frustrating at times because obviously he does love himself some Raheem Mostert. He does love himself a little bit of Jeff Wilson as well. But Devon Achane, he'll certainly get his licks in as well. So definitely one to look forward to. And so who are you thinking of taking with pick 110?
Yeah, so let's go a bit crazy. I know Kev will be absolutely hating this pick, but we're gonna show a bit of love to the tight end position and Dalton Kincaid. This is a classic position where I'm desperately trying to trade back maybe 5 or 6 picks to say the 2, 3, 2, 4, and still feel like I could nail Kincaid. But I have seen him just going earlier and earlier in rookie drafts, where this is just pretty much where he's been going in the last 2 or 3 drafts that I've done. And I don't hate it, because even when it's not tight end premium, you're picking a guy that for me can come in and be a top 5 dynasty tight end. I mean, you've had that group for a while now. We've obviously got Kyle Pitts that have come in and not done a huge amount, but he's still ranked 1, 2, 3 in terms of the tight end. You've got Kelsey. You want the next Kelsey. You want the next Mark Andrews from a couple of years ago. Hawkinson's in there, and then you've got Goddard and Kittle. But other than that, you've just not had a tight end that's really broke into that group other than Kyle Pitts. So for me, Kincaid has got the next great shot. Obviously, there's an incredible tight end coming in next year in Bowers, but right now, Kincaid, for me, is the closest thing that we've got. The Buffalo Bills traded up to get him. They fell in love with him. There's just a spot on that team where Josh Allen needed another pass catcher. He's going to be playing in the slot. He's got a chance to really be, like I say, a top 5 tight end. So to take him here, there's plenty of upside.
I think if I was going to make one prediction about a player in 3-4 years' time where people are going to be kicking themselves they didn't take him earlier, I think it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. I really do. I think he's that good. And the Bills didn't draft him to the block, I'll tell you that much.
Well, exactly it. He's not that type of player. He is very much in the Kelsey-esque, where he just gets downfield so quickly and just finds the pockets of space, and he's just going to move the chains for Josh Allen, which was a problem last year. He had Stephon Diggs. Then other than that, it was just, where's Stephon Diggs? If he's not open, Josh Allen just took off, or he struggled to find another pass catcher. So I think Kincaid is going to be great. Obviously, tight ends, they don't see the massive spike in value, or they don't tend to, especially year one. But I just think Kincaid could be an outlier. So worth the shot here.
Absolutely agree. So Kincaid's locked in at 110, and don't be a hater, Kev. Come on, 110's fine for Dalton Kincaid.
Come on, Kev. He'll get on board.
Yeah. So
The next pick is a perfect landing spot as well.
oh, let's see who it is then. Who's coming in right next with his perfect landing spot?
Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, he is. Love it. Love it. So tell me about Dalton Kincaid then. What do you like about him?
Do you know what? I probably shouldn't have gone so high because you don't do the tight end premium and stuff like that. But for me, he's somebody that you could see getting into that top 5 tight end sort of, you know, what's the word? I wouldn't even say it's a debate. It's he could break that top 5 into that top 5, and he could be. I'm not going to say he's going to be the next Travis Kelce or anything like that, but he could be phenomenal. And when obviously a lot of people look at landing spots and they look at draft capital and stuff like that. The Bills traded up to go and get him. You know, they've seen their guy. They've looked at the teams and gone, they're going to take him. They're going to take him. We want our guy. We're going to go and get our guy. And that is bigger than anything for me. It didn't matter about landing spot or anything like that. They know who they want, and they've gone up and they've gone to get him, and they've gone, we want him. And let's be honest, Josh Allen hasn't got the best receiving core in front of him.
Yeah.
You know, Stephon Diggs. I love Stephon Diggs. I've made 2 trades over the last couple of days for him. One with you, Mags, yeah. And I love Stephon Diggs, but I think Kincaid can actually step in as that number 2 receiver in this team, and that to me is incredible. You know, look at Dawson Knox. It wasn't last year, it was the year before. He had an incredible season, and everyone was like, Dawson Knox is incredible. So we've seen that he can feed a tight end. He can give the ball to that tight end. He can do that. And now they've gone up and got their guy. And I'm like, Dalton Kincaid is a smash for me. He's a smash. I was actually talking to you about one of the wildcard leagues that we're in, and I tried the Diggs trade. I got your 108, wasn't it? And so I got that, and I wanted to trade back from the 108 because I think it's a bit early for Kincaid at 108. But I kind of feel, I was telling you this before, that the Dynasty community now know that this area nobody wants to trade up from the 112 to the 108. They don't want to do it. There's very little people wanted to do it. There's very little value. People are so confused. So I think we're seeing a lot less trading up for players, and I see it in a lot of leagues. People are getting to this stage, sort of the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that sort of area. And literally the first thing they do, as soon as they say in a draft, they go, and you're on the clock, the first thing they do is they tag everyone in it and go, I'm looking to move back. Anyone want to come up and get a guy? And they're like, I'll give it an hour. An hour later, they're making the pick. And they go, that's because I don't think anyone wants to move up. Nobody wants to pay a massive amount to move up 4 spaces. They'd rather sit there at the sort of 11 and get somebody like Kincaid. I know in tight end premium, it's a little bit different. You probably would look at him maybe the 8, 9 mark. There's a conversation for it, but I think Kincaid at 11 is. I'd rather not move from 11 to 8.
Yeah.
For Quinton Johnson, I'd rather take Kincaid at 11 and have my draft capital for later on.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you there. And just take these guys whenever you can. Some of these tight ends, like there are tight ends that are like just their roster fillers. There's not a lot of them that can be like your smash hit, huge difference makers. The difference between Travis Kelce and whoever the hell finished second last year was the same amount of points that Christian Kirk scored last year. That was the difference between 1 and 2. And Christian Kirk was a wide receiver 1. Like, It is mad. If you can get one of these difference makers at tight end in your team, you're laughing. It's like having an extra Christian Kirk playing for you every week.
Yeah, and I remember it wasn't that long ago where we were discussing that Travis Kelce would have finished as wide receiver 3 on the season. Mark Andrews would have finished as like wide receiver 6 or something like that, But once you go past them two, I think you've still got a group of really, really phenomenal tight ends.
Yeah.
You're talking your Kyle Pitts, you're talking your George Kittles and stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of talk on Twitter on whether George Kittle can actually be that guy and stuff like that. And was last year a bit of a out there sort of season for him. But I think if you can get Kincaid at this point, I think he could be a difference maker. And you may have a Travis Kelce, you may have a Mark Andrews or somebody like that on your team. But to me, he's one of the best players he is the best tight end in this draft, but he is also one of the best players. And he is going to be, we're getting to the point now where a lot of the players coming up now are we're probably talking flex plays, that sort of thing. Kincaid for me is somebody that could be in your starting position week in, week out, And to me, that's at this point, that is the best player available on this draft for that and for your team. Even if you've got Travis Kelce, take him.
Yeah.
And if he hits, that's when you're looking to go, you want him, come and get him.
Yeah. And the best thing about that, having a Kelce or an Andrews, if you take Kincaid, guess who doesn't have Kincaid? Everybody else. You still got the difference maker in your team, and nobody else has got an extra difference maker. So I think that's a really nice pick at 111.
But so we're going to go over to the 110. Are we gonna go back to these wide receivers, or are we going to a different position?
Yeah, at 110, I'm actually going to go Will Levis here. I think that it is super flex. I think Will Levis is well worth the gamble here at 110. I mean, and again, I'm sort of torn here between a few, but I'm like, if Will Levis hits, I'm going to be kicking myself for so long that I took Quentin Johnson or Isaiah Flowers ahead of Will Levis, because these guys, they might be good receivers, but Will Levis has a chance, to be like, if Will Levis hits, he's going to score way, way, way more points, right? It's not even going to be close. So I'm quite happy taking Will Levis here and taking a little bit of a gamble on him hitting and becoming, a pretty good starting quarterback. And maybe a little bit too early, but for a quarterback, sometimes you got to take things a bit early.
Yeah, I agree. I've always thought that this area now, this back end of the first, start of the second, is a bit of a dark spot. But to be honest, I think if I was in this draft, I think I'd be looking to move into that 111 now. I think there's a player there that I really like and I'm quite high on now. So I think I'd be looking, if I was maybe at the 201, I think I'd be quite happy to give that and maybe my 301 and see if I could get that done